There are parts of aviation safety we hope we never have to talk about. Emergency slides, oxygen systems, fire bottles, life rafts. That is exactly why we need to talk about them. When something goes wrong, the fail-safe cannot be the thing that fails. And that readiness is built through quality, culture, planning, procedures, and no shortcuts. Hi, I'm Patrick Krause, host of the Nose to Tail podcast. Today, I'm joined by Matt from HRD Aerosystems to talk about the work behind safety-critical equipment. Let's get into it. Now, you work for HRD.
Correct.
And I know a lot of our listeners probably had remember some of the other episodes, have had your folks on here before. But maybe talk to us a little bit about the business of safety and what that means to you guys over at HRD.
Yeah, so HRD, my dad started the business in 1985. So I've been around for 40 years now. And safety to us means the highest level of quality. So making sure that everyone gets home safe to their families. So,
you know, it's a great core principle to have. And, you know, you guys are dealing in emergency equipment, right? So slides and rafts and among other things. Mm-hmm. And you guys have mentioned that what you do is kind of invisible safety, right? It's invisible to the person on the plane. They don't really understand it. Obviously, if you've got fuel, that's a problem. You know, that could, have an issue, engines, landing gear. But talk to us about the invisible safety and why that's such a key part of really aviation safety in general.
Yeah, so you hope to never use this stuff. So, it's hidden behind the doors on the plane, under the seats, the oxygen's up in the fuselage. And so if, a customer was flying on this plane and they're seeing all this stuff all the time, it doesn't give you a good warm feeling when you're flying, because this is all the stuff you're going to use in an emergency, and it's like this is the last ditch effort for survival. So
yeah, I sometimes take for granted, we're very lucky at Jet Midwest to have a hangar and airplanes, and we actually get to touch them and walk through them. And a lot of times when I get on the flight and I'm sitting in the emergency exit row, you're like, oh, hey, you feel comfortable if there's an emergency. And, I don't want to make it last longer than to say, yes, I'm good. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes I'm like, I've taken off more emergency doors, ma'am, than you have. So, I've gone off that wing before. And so sometimes I take for granted that the normal passenger, they don't experience that. They don't really have that exposure. And in a moment of crisis, it's your equipment's what's saving the day in the end. And that's pretty amazing. And quality in that moment is critical. Maybe talk to us about the quality standards that you guys set, and that certainly for this style of equipment, they're truly the most important.
Yeah. So really, we want to make sure we're following the CMM no matter what. So not taking any shortcuts. As a leader, I want to make sure my team is open, honest, and vulnerable. There's always high expectations to everyone for everyone to know how to do their job, but it's okay to say that, hey, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know. So we welcome that, so that we as a team work together to make sure that we're ultimately making the best decision and making sure we're following the right quality guidelines. So,
that's a great expectation, to have a culture that's developed where you can be vulnerable, because, aviation mechanics, there's potentially some ego on the floor, especially veterans have been around for a long time, and they don't like to be told that they maybe don't quite understand this new process, or that they're doing something that maybe puts risk in the system. So, kudos to you and your team that you've created an environment where that's this standard, versus, that's just, the new guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. And it's, no, we all have to have this same high standard all the time. So
yeah, we got to make sure it works out there.
Yeah. Well, so talk to me about what the consequences are to not paying attention to those standards. What creeps in when those things don't get that much attention?
Yeah. Lost customers would be probably the financial end, but on the quality end, through FAA or audits, making sure that all your ducks are in a row, making sure that everything is followed under the CMM, or you could have a huge quality escape. Something could go wrong ultimately that, we hope nothing, like that ever happens. but it could be a big recall where you're sending all of your oxygen units back or all your slides back or something like that, and could be detrimental to the company. So
for anybody who hasn't experienced it, I have, because we do slide deployment training for our safety for our dismantle folks. So we do typically an annual slide deployment in the back parking lot.
It's always fun.
So people can observe and see what that's like. For those folks who haven't seen that, because that is part of the process that you use when you are going through the repair and overhaul process on slides. Maybe describe what that's like to people who have never seen it.
It's really exciting. So all these inflatables inflate within 7 seconds. So it's very powerful. It's only 2.5 PSI or so, but the inflatable itself is very strong. So it gives you a lot of faith. So if you ever had to use it, you would feel pretty safe out there that you're going to survive. But yeah, you see all the engineering that goes into it and how critical everything is to work together. So
is the biggest slide, I can imagine commercially, the biggest slide is a 7.4 upper deck?
Correct.
So how long, again, giving the listeners maybe a little perspective, how long is that?
I want to say it's like around 50 feet. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. We deployed an L1011 slide last time, which was last certified in the late 70s. Still had the last certified sticker in it. It had been sitting in an old inventory. We just set it aside. And I was amazed. It still worked. Like, we deployed it and it deployed. I don't think it hit 7 seconds.
Yeah.
But it fully deployed after 40 years in a warehouse somewhere. That it actually went off. So that's amazing that the technology works, but they are just massive.
Yeah.
They look like a giant rubber boat, like you've never seen before. So that's pretty awesome. So, they also have the slides in today's market have a recurring overhaul cycle to them.
Correct.
Depending on their age, could be a 1-year cycle, could be a 3-year cycle. Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit about the actual component shop and what's happening maybe with repairs and scope creep, in those type of things that are impacting your marketplace and your customers.
Yeah. So servicing, let's say it's over 15 years old, it has to, or it's recommended to get service every year. And that's to make sure that, the glue is not failing or some of the other components aren't failing. And it does make it easier on the whole supply chain when you're keeping all these parts up to good quality standards and making sure, if they're on the fine line of like acceptable or not, you're kind of, if you lean towards replacing it, it's going to be better off in the future, because the inflatable starts to fail, then it ends up breaking an aspirator or the cylinder or something, or the hose. So it all works together. So
I'm curious, do you ever see a particular environment that makes it more difficult? I can imagine aircraft that's stationed maybe in Honolulu that flies to mainland U.S., the slides would deteriorate at a different rate than maybe one that was based in Phoenix and flies domestic every day from Phoenix to Chicago or in back. Do you guys see an environmental impact on the slide itself?
Yes, we do. Yeah, temperature, humidity, or moisture. The components will start to get corrosion faster if they're, in Honolulu than Phoenix. But then also in Phoenix, you go put it in a warehouse and it gets 150 degrees, and then the glue could start to deteriorate. So
I can imagine there's a whole lot of variables there that impact it. Mm-hmm. Now, from just general knowledge from what you guys have been doing your whole career, is there something that you guys point to that should, like when you talk about it? I mean, I'm buying a lot of aging airplanes. Like, I'm buying airplanes 15 and 20 years old. So I probably have 50% of my equipment is younger than 15 years, and then the other half are older than that. And, what is it that you guys actually maybe pinpoint? Is it the length of time in storage? Is a stored aircraft more at risk when it's not flying?
It's hard.
Or maybe not. I mean, there's maybe I'm looking for some special sauce here and it doesn't exist.
It's hard for us to know. Customers will send it in and we're not really sure where it came from. But there's the times maybe we'll get a ship set and it's just like they're completely garbage, it's covered in dust. It's like, oh, these are just sun faded or something. Like, oh, these have been sitting out in the desert, they're filled with sand or something. But other than that, it's kind of hard to tell kind of how people are storing them. So yeah.
My guess is that the in-service operators you guys have consistent contracts with probably helps see the same serial numbers coming through the shop. Whereas,
yes,
at Jet Midwest being a teardown company, my goal is to get that into their hands to fill when they have one go BER. I'm looking to backfill for them, as opposed to maintaining long term. So I can definitely see where that consistent engagement is like taking your car to the same guy.
Exactly.
He already knows what all the special squeaks and noises are. He goes, I don't know about that.
I know I replaced this last time. I know I'm not going to need it this time.
That's right.
So that helps.
That's right. Yeah. Now, do you do anything special on the documentation side to help track that cycle for the operators?
We're doing some internal forecasting. So looking at the last time we service it, and it's going to come due in 3 or 5 years, and so we're looking at plus or minus 2 or 3 months, so we can kind of get an idea of the volume that's expected. It's not a fail-safe. People are swapping out sides. People are getting new aircraft. So, but it kind of gets us in the ballpark. So that really helps for our largest customers. So
in the post-COVID world, we've talked a lot about supply chain challenges. They are. I joke with people. I'm like, it's just a new normal. Sorry, there's nothing any of us can do about it. We can't change it. We're not the OEM.
Yeah.
Don't know that I want to be one. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
But how have you guys addressed the supply chain issues that have come up?
Just better data, really. It's a very difficult math problem if you were going to look at it that way, of trying to anticipate the demand and anticipate the lead time of the parts. So really looking at the lead time and saying how often do they hit their expected delivery date. And it's like, if it's all over the place, okay, we're ramping up our safety stock, and it's just a fluid situation. Really, it's challenging, but the biggest impact for us is cash flow. It's like, yeah, we could just buy a ton more parts.
That's what the operator wants. They want all the aftermarket to carry all the expense that they possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
And
then it puts pressure on us. And so it's challenging.
Well, again, it's good to have some predictability in the marketplace you're in. So again, if you've got consistent contracts, that's going to show up every year or every 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know when to have those things ready to go. So that's fantastic. So slides, rafts, you guys also do floats for helicopters.
Correct.
Is there a particular product line that you enjoy the most?
Fire bottles, because I grew up working on the fire bottle side. So portables and the engine, cargo, APU bottles. So
what makes that exciting?
The whole refurbishment side. I don't know if you have, like restoring cars. It's kind of like the same concept of like, you get something in and it's dirty, you need to clean it up, get it back to spec, and it goes out looking brand new, and that's exciting. So yeah.
The fire bottles can be quite a challenge when we're going through and reactivating these aging aircraft, right? Because you've got the age of the squibs and some different things, and where you have to go back and document all that. And sometimes we have an aircraft that takes, we have to reactivate, bring it to Kansas City, maybe change the engines, landing gear, and then all of a sudden go through that cycle again. You go, great, we got to do that again.
Yeah.
We got to send that back out to the guys at HRD and have them overhaul that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Which really creates it's a readiness problem that we have, and that we're doing it on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have programs that you're putting together? Do you guys have pools or any of that working with your clients?
Yeah, mostly on the fire bottle and oxygen side, just because the slides take up so much space.
Yeah,
it's a little challenging. But yeah, we have tons of fire bottles, from even some legacy, F-16 fire bottles. We still got some old CO2 bottles for some historic aircraft that are still flying that we service every once in a while. So it's cool.
Well, you even do business jets, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They, I can imagine that those are all one-off projects.
Mm-hmm.
And so that'd be pretty cool. When you say legacy, what type of aircraft? You talking like DC-3 or?
Yeah, some DC-8s, DC-9s, DC-3. But yeah, it's just like occasional fire bottle here or there. It'll usually have CO2, or in some case they retrofit it to have 1211 halon. So Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's got to be pretty cool. DC-3 is such a cool airplane. We had on the podcast a friend of mine, Danny O'Neill, who huge aviation buff, has a coffee company in Kansas City that he built, and they actually put a DC-3 on the roof.
Oh, really?
It looks like it's taking off.
Nice.
It's on a ramp, and then have blue lights. You can see it through downtown Kansas City. It's pretty neat. Big
That's where
shout.
you get your coffee?
Yeah, that's where I get my coffee. Danny's been feeding my coffee addiction for a couple of decades. So the shout out to him and his guys. But
Nice.
that's been pretty cool. So that's great that you're still doing that.
Yeah.
So how else are you guys helping people with, maybe we talked about supply chain a minute ago, but maybe how are you guys helping people with supply chain by just the nature of what you guys are doing?
Yeah. Making sure we have the parts so that, when a customer is going and looking, we're just going to be honest with them and be like, we can't get this. You should go over here. We know, it's our competitor, but hey, they have the part. We just want to help people out, make sure that they're able to fly because, not trying to port the business and say that, send it in, we'll get it to you in 7 days. And then it sits there for 30 or longer. So
we've all run into those problems in the marketplace. Now, you had mentioned earlier that when you guys talk about what parts to keep on the shelves, right? It's a cash flow challenge. But you're using some analytics based on your repair history or some of those things.
Yeah.
How is that analysis really impacting your business and your customers? And then certainly with technology, everybody's been talking about AI and how to capitalize on those things. What are you guys looking at? What's going to be the future for you guys using analysis and some AI tools to really bolster what you're doing?
Yeah. There's some machine learning, some AI tools that will help predict kind of everything. So predicting the service that's going to be required, predicting what customers are going to send their work, really looking at, what parts do we need at what time. We recently signed up with AI company Forerunner. So looking at that's helping improve our CMMs and to the mechanic side. So the way we're looking at AI as a whole for the future is how can we help our employees? We're not looking to replace our employees, but now they have the best tools out there to make better decisions and help improve operations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ian,
that's a good point. Coming from an ownership standpoint, and we talk about improvements with AI and digital tools, and people, they do get afraid, like, hey, what's going to happen to my job? I kind of have a low level or an entry level job. And I agree with you that really the mission needs to be, how do we bolster the productivity level of each individual within the task that they're doing?
Exactly.
So when you were talking about the CMMs, is that creating a smoother access point for each of those technicians?
Yes. So especially for our newer technicians that don't know where each section is in the manual, they can just ask it a question and it'll bring it right to that page. So the nice thing about it is there's no hallucinations, which they call in AI. So it's not coming up with any fake information out of the manual or outside of the manual. So everything is from within the manual. So it saves time and really helps organize the illustrated parts list. But it's mostly time savings and accuracy for us with that.
Yeah, it's being able to have the ability to search large volumes of data certainly is a strength of AI and some of these systems. I know that we have a massive amount, right? Because we have so many different aircraft that we've had in our possession, and we've got a lot of technical data. And so, again, senior people like, oh no, I just click, I go right here. And someone else is like, where do I go again?
Yeah.
You go to the server and you got to log into the shared drive. Yeah, okay, great. After 18 steps, they're like, can you just tell me the answer?
Yeah, right.
So that's amazing you guys are harnessing it. And I think that really is the future for a lot of the roles that we have. We've even talked about using it for part identification, using some digital tools to image parts and then turn that into, well, go look at the IPC. So that's this. Is this actually what this is? The IPC will tell the truth. So you could have an AI agent go in there and actually search that for you. So
nice. Yeah,
I think that would be pretty cool to put into place. My inventory people would still have to be there because you still have to have a person who knows how to handle a part, package a part,
exactly,
locate the part, don't think I'll have an Amazon warehouse. I think that probably the cost point there might be hard to recover.
Yeah.
But I certainly think that analytics digital tool could be there to help us in the future.
Definitely.
How do we prevent these digital tools from getting in the way? I think you made a comment before about they create noise in the system and maybe distract us from what we really need to be focused on.
Good discernment. I would be really digging into the tool, really understanding everything that it's doing, putting some good guardrails up. So working with, AI professionals, people that are knowledgeable on it, exploring with stuff that is less sensitive, kind of understanding how it all operates on, something more fun outside of work. You could, play around with it and kind of understand, what responses you're going to get. So really the discernment side is making sure that, it's not going to go start giving all this wrong information or start taking over your server and all that. So.
Yeah, I definitely, in the industry, data is very sacred, right? We have agreements with OEMs for CMMs and we have responsibilities for that. So I'm also going to be curious about, what's going to happen next in AI for permission levels that we can have say, hey, this source of data is ours and can't use this in some other search engine. You can't use this for some other application, and that we're secure with those. I think that's going to be important. For sure.
It's moving so fast too. So it's like, it's hard to be like, oh, there's this new tool, let's try it out. And then it's like, oh wait, there's all this safety sensitive stuff or it's not secure. And then you're at risk. So.
But the tools are great. I was actually doing a client of ours needed a hangar bay for a 787, and so I had some internal questions for myself about the dimensions of the aircraft to ensure that we put it into a bay that it fit in. And I just went to my AI bot and said, I need to give me the comparable lengths, widths, heights, everything, the wingspan, depth, the wing tips, and in 15 seconds it pulled up the whole schematics of what it was and gave me all the measurements, asked me what my mission was. I said, well, this is how big my hangar bay is. Will it fit? They said, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome. And so that was a good use case for it. And the information came fast. It probably just went to Boeing.
Yeah.
Boeing.com or wherever. And that information is just out there in the ether. And again, for some of the technical stuff, maybe not good to have it out there. Having some old CMM with the wrong reference might be a problem. And certainly for safety of what we do, that can't happen, right? No one wants to have that happen on some FAA inspection. They go, wow, you're using version 1? Nobody uses version 1.
No, I would say there's some common sense stuff a little bit behind it too. If it came back and it's like, this 787 it's all in inches or it's 4 inches wide or something. There's some common sense, I would say, behind it too. So
we talked earlier, you mentioned a new Texas location.
Correct.
So give us a little bit feedback to everybody out there, what's going on in Texas.
Yeah, so we have 50 acres of land out there. So in 2016, we bought Applied Energy Technology Corporation. So we're making explosive cartridges, energetics. So these are on all the fire extinguishers. And then there's parachute cutters and a whole array of other products. So we bought that in 2016, and then we added a HRD building on the property. So we have about 35,000 square feet there, doing inflatables, fire extinguishers, and starting oxygen too. So
I'm going to give our listeners maybe the very rudimentary version of this, but a fire bottle is, maybe it could be the size of a grapefruit, different sizes, but let's say it's the size of a grapefruit, and it has a tiny explosive charge. And when it needs to be deployed, that charge goes off and hits the fire bottle, then the fire bottle disperses its retardant that's inside and puts the fire out in whatever location, cargo, engine, wherever it happens to be. So what you're talking about is those little explosive charges.
Yes.
So what you're saying is you guys are blowing crap up down in Texas.
Oh yeah.
All right. Talk to that sounds like. So talk to me. What is that experience like? What does it look like? Is it like a big range and you're just,
No, it's mostly contained. We'll do bonfires every once in a while, and some stuff will accidentally get in there, but but it's mostly all contained. But we're doing the mixing all the powder there. We have a few buildings where we're have some manufacturing lines and doing all the assembly there. So
obviously you have to audit, you have to test everything you make. You got to go through the testing cycle. Is that pretty cool?
yeah.
As a customer who maybe is interested in utilizing those that supply chain, is there a chance I could come and observe, or I'd be okay being the guy pushing the button if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Big red button, right?
Big red button.
Is it a big red button?
In the cockpit, yes.
All right,
Yeah.
big red button in the cockpit. Do you need a spare cockpit? I could cut one off and send it to you. We could do
That'd be cool.
do some trading. I'll get to blow some stuff up, and you'll have the spare cockpit.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, we should do it.
So that means you guys are manufacturing parts, right?
Correct.
So talk to me maybe talk to the people out there about PMAs and some of those products that you guys are supplying the market with, right? Because that's a solution to that supply chain we talked about. Is what better solution than we'll just make it ourselves, because those guys can't do it.
Yep. Yeah, so PMAs, we have over 400 PMAs approved, and we're working on 7 new ones this year. And yeah, we really started because there's a need in the market, and we can reverse engineer it. We do have some OEM agreements, so we don't make those parts anymore. But for everything else, it's trying to give the best service to the customer, and that's kind of the goal of it. So
out of those 7 new PMAs, which one of them are you the most excited about that really solves a big problem?
A slide girt.
Really?
Yeah, just because supply chain issues and.
Out of all the things, again,
Yeah.
I know what it is because I've tear down airplanes. Why don't you enlighten everybody out there what that is?
Yeah, so the girt is going to hold the inflatable slide onto the fuselage. So when the door opens up and the slide deploys, the girt is going to allow it so that people can actually slide down and not get hurt. Yeah.
So on some aircraft, the girt bar is actually put into place. So if you've ever, for listeners out there, if you ever get on an aircraft and you see the flight attendant after they close the door, they check it and then they go and they put the girt bar in place.
Yeah.
That way it's sort of, and that's where the whole slide is attached to the airplane.
Exactly.
On that particular style. So that's pretty cool. I can't imagine that that's a problem. I guess I always have one.
Yeah.
I remember to take them off the airplane when I pull the slide, so I don't have a shortage of girt bars.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else out there that's really special that everybody should hear about?
Let's see, just making new cartridges as far as new PMAs, expanding our Texas, all of our capabilities there. So, a more central location to save on freight and, provide better service. So
as a family-run business, it sounds like you guys have spent a lot of time ensuring that your culture and your values are in place.
Yeah.
How do you, if I was a new employee coming in and you're interviewing me, what are those things you need to hear from me that signal that I'm going to fit what you already have in place?
Yeah. I'm going to gauge how vulnerable you are. I'm going to ask questions about your personal life and, what mistakes have you made in the past, and, how did you, go about them, sharing them. That's kind of the main thing. The second thing would be getting rid of politics, pushing clarity and cohesion with the team. So if I can sense, you're more of like a politician talker, then, it might not be the right fit for us. So.
Yeah, certainly from an entrepreneurial standpoint, we have a no a-hole rule. We try to adhere to that. If we fail, we try and get rid of those people as quick as we identify them. Mm-hmm. But certainly that's super important in any business, that you maintain the values and then the culture comes. Yeah. And people won't put up with those people who don't fit it, and they shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
So, I hear you have a newborn?
Yes. Yeah, he's a year and a half.
Is this your first?
First one.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he's going through potty training right now, so
it's a good time. Good time. So are you going to have a legacy HRD in the future, you think?
I don't know. So I'm second generation, and statistically, the third generation runs it into the grounds. So I don't know. We'll see. I might change my mind in 10 years. So yeah.
Now, when you very first started in the shop, you said you were working with the fire bottles and the oxygen bottles. Were you actually a technician, inspecting, cleaning, maintenance? You were doing everything?
Doing everything, the hydrostatic testing, labeling. Yeah, I was starting around 14 and a half, 15. So.
Well, again, we grew up in, my brother and sister and I owned the company. We owned Jet Midwest, and we grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. We had restaurants and retail, candy stores, and we certainly started as early as we could walk. We were probably put to work to do something. I remember my brother and I, being the youngest, were scraping gum off the bottom of all the tables because we were the lowest to the ground, and certainly grew work ethic inside of us. And I think we've translated that to our kids, to the next generation. So I'm confident that at minimum, we're going to have a great work ethic and good values coming out of your family. So
thank you.
I ask all of my guests what their favorite aircraft is. You should be prepared for this question.
Okay.
All right. So what is your favorite aircraft and why?
Wasn't prepared for this one.
You should have been.
Yeah.
You should have been.
G550.
G550. Now, have you had an experience to fly on a G550 yet?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just incredible. It's just so smooth. Yeah. I mean, it's true luxury. So.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to fly in a couple business jets, not a G550.
Yeah.
But I've been afloat on a couple of them, and it is a pretty special experience. And I hope everybody out there gets a chance at least once in their life to experience what that's like. I think the concierge part of it is as exciting to me as anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not having to go through security, right? You simply check in with your crew and they take your bags and take care of you on both sides. And they're definitely relaxing flights.
Yeah.
So it is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything we haven't covered that maybe you think would be important for our listeners to hear?
Jet Midwest has been great to work with, and really love working with your team, and appreciate all the business that we do together. So
yeah, it's been a great journey. We've certainly done a whole variety of things. You guys have pulled our butt out of the fire. I can't tell you how many times we called like, hey, we just need a squib.
Yeah,
we just need a squib. You're like, all right, we'll get one. We get it out to you. Like, okay, wait, we have to ship it to Thailand.
Yeah.
Okay, also can be done, but a different conversation. So you guys have certainly been a great vendor for us and partners in a lot of different ways. So I do appreciate that. And I do love the family values you guys have.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll tell all the listeners out there, the first time they pulled our bacon out of the fire, you guys actually drove with a VIP 737, and you guys drove a raft to the aircraft that was getting ready to depart. You guys literally, I think it was a Saturday or Sunday, you guys put it into someone's truck. Yeah. And they delivered it to us right to the airplane, and they put it on the airplane and took a charter flight. And that was a pivotal moment in that particular aircraft's life that I don't know that it could have survived if it wasn't going to make that. It was actually a music tour.
Oh, wow.
And if they did not make the pickup in Vegas, they were in trouble. And so, anyway. So
we don't hear that side, but it doesn't matter to us as long as we're servicing the customer and making sure you guys are on time. So,
it was quite a while ago. I won't go into what millennia that was, but well, thank you for being here, Matt. This has been a great conversation. I hope everybody out there has learned something. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Nose to Tail. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Presented by Jet Midwest.